For now, of course, markets are off days highs. In fact, the Fin Nifty and the Bank Nifty are in fact at days lows, even though they are in the green, and Fin Nifty has gone into the red, by the way. Well, there certainly are some things that you'll need to bear in mind before we move in. Before we talk about the futures and options space, I think it would be pertinent to address Gokaldas Exports and the kind of challenges that they are at the moment facing is in Bangladesh. Samina, do you want to take this over?
Yeah, so I think the management has indicated that if there is instability in Bangladesh, one thing that could work for Indian textile companies is that these international brands such as your H&M, your Gap, the larger retailers worldwide who import from countries like Bangladesh may even consider shifting focus and buying out of India as opposed to Bangladesh. But we've got with us the management, Mr. Ganpati, who's MD of Gokaldas Exports now, joining us to talk to us about what the Bangladesh impact could mean for his company and the sector. Hi, Mr. Ganpati, thanks a ton for joining in. First up, you want to start by telling us if you've got a presence in Bangladesh. Is there any sort of trade relationship you have in Bangladesh?
Good morning. No, certainly we do not have. We do not have any business that we do out of Bangladesh. So at the moment, all our manufacturing capacities are in India, and then we have manufacturing capacities in Kenya and Ethiopia. So currently, we don't do anything out of there.
In terms of clients that you sell to, do these clients significantly buy from Bangladesh?
Of course.
Okay.
So Bangladesh is a very large garment manufacturing, country, and almost all of the large retailers buy a lot from Bangladesh.
So would it be fair for us to assume, Mr. Ganpati, with political instability now in Bangladesh for the foreseeable future, some of these big buyers of yours like the H&Ms and Gaps and Zaras of the world may start increasing their purchases from India to offset what they were doing in Bangladesh, just to ensure that, of course, there's no disruption in supply in that sense?
So many brands were looking at diversification, but I think the speed at which events unfolded in Bangladesh accelerates some of the thought process of, diversifying away from overexposure to that country. So many of the brands who buy a lot from that region may, consider going forward to, diversify away, and India naturally becomes a safe port of call for many retailers to source from, given our vast supply chain base. So we have a good mill base, especially in the cotton viscose area, and a strong garmenting base as well. So there will be a lot more retailers who will consider incremental sourcing from India. But, all of this will evolve over a period of time. Everybody is waiting and watching as to how soon the events settle down in Bangladesh. If those factories come back online quickly, then even then there may be some movement, but it all depends on how things unfold in the next week, 10 days there.
So Ganpati, just wanted to understand what sort of a cost differential is there when it comes to sourcing products from Bangladesh as compared to sourcing the same products when it comes to manufacturing in India. Is it substantial?
There is some degree of difference between India and Bangladesh. Primarily, it is induced by the cost of labor in Bangladesh as well as a weak currency that Bangladesh has. So again, Bangladesh also has humongous capacities that they have created over a period of time.
Right.
So many brands prefer Bangladesh for a slightly lower cost, which may be of the region of 10%, 15%, whatever. Plus, European retailers prefer Bangladesh because Bangladesh goes duty-free into Europe. So that is a 12% advantage straight off the bat. So that's something which, we can't even combat. So that's the advantage which Bangladesh has, particularly going towards Europe. If as and when India has an FTA, maybe that will become a level playing field with UK and Europe. But at the moment, Bangladesh enjoys that advantage.
Right. One last question, Mr. Ganpati. So while this may be a sentimental positive in some sense for the sector, and you've seen companies like yourself trading with 11% gain on the index right now, but is there any tweaking to orders from your clients since the Bangladesh crisis came to light about 10, 12 days ago, or there's been no actual quantitative changes just yet?
So it's a bit early in that sense, right? Because we normally do bookings well in advance. So, we book about 2 quarters in advance. So at the moment, nobody can directly shift things because supply chains are well entrenched and tied in. Having said that, brands are always looking for alternate options and will be, having soft discussions on in the event there is disruption, what do we do? Kind of conversations, but these are all early days.
A final question from my end as well then. So what are the key brands that Gokuldas Exports deals with, which also have a relative presence in Bangladesh as well?
So we deal with all the top brands in the world, and all the brands that we deal with also source from Bangladesh.
Right. Okay, Mr. Ganpati, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us and, taking us through, the current situation and kind of potential advantages the current situation in Bangladesh may pose as far as some of the Indian outfits are concerned. Of course, given the current environment, we're going to have to continue to keep an eye on how things develop. But before now, this is how things stand. Of course, Gokuldas Exports, the price of that particular stock is up as much as 10.5% at the moment. We'll continue to give you updates there, but we shift focus to the futures and options space. And we get in Sneha Seth of Angel One and Kush Bora of kushbora.com, who's joining us on the show. Good morning to both of you. Thanks so much for joining in. Sneha, I'll start with you on your take on the benchmarks. The Nifty is holding strong, but that is not the case for the Bank Nifty, the Fin Nifty. How are you assessing both these key indices and how would you trade them?
Yeah, very good morning. If you look at the market and yesterday's selling, I think though Nifty is trading positive, but I think on the higher side, the gap zone around 24,300, 350, 700, that zone should be acting as a hurdle. So today again we saw Nifty heading towards 24,400, and from there we have seen some profit taking. So I believe at this point in time, looking at the India VIX even, which is around 18.5 today, so it is looking that market, any bounce back should be, used to exit your longs. And in case of any further declines, I would say that, should avoid any kind of a bottom fishing, especially looking at the India VIX. In banking index also, if you see the same thing, the gap zone should be acting as a resistance, which is placed around